Hi, Zizaran here, and today is going to be defense against the dark arts, or layered defenses. So we're going to talk about multiple ways to make your character very, very tanky and try not to die, and talk about especially the advanced layers of defense. I guess we can start with covering just a little bit of basic armor and basic evasion. Um, so yeah, sure. Let's start with the super basic one. So armor. So as you see here, I have an estimate physical reduction of 31%. And then I pop an armor flask and it goes up to 54%. Now this stat is lying to you. And I do actually have a quick explanation in my channel. Let's see. I'll just put it on a notepad. There. Armor does not actually grant percentage reduction to physical damage that the tooltip states. There is a hidden mechanic where armor only grants most 10% armor rating as reduction in physical damage. So that means that, yeah, so 25,000 armor, the highest hit that can mitigate is 2,500 HP worth of physical damage. So that means that this is going to never mitigate more than 680. So what that means is that armor is really, really good for small hits. Armor is excellent at small hits. And I'm still using it. I still use armor in a lot of builds because those small hits, they really do add up. If you have 10 monsters bashing at you, that does actually add up. And then you have... Awesome, Tempura, thank you. And then you have, for things like boss slams and things that can do 10k damage and stuff like that, armor obviously doesn't do much against that. And that is when you want a basalt flask. I wonder if I even have one. These tabs are awful. I do have one. So this is where a basalt flask or taste of hate, and we can talk a little bit more about taste of hate later because that's a bit complicated. But things like that is good. So yeah, armor still very good. I normally try to have a granite flask on most characters just so you don't get banged up by white monsters in maps. Obviously, white monsters in tier 16s will still hit for a lot, but even then, it does help a lot with the mitigation. And you'll notice a character that has 15, 20k armor is kind of immune to white monsters, blue monsters, just auto attacking you. So it does make quite a big difference. It's just against any very big hit, metamorphs, boss monsters, or an actual big boss like Uber and stuff, then armor is not going to do anything. And then next up we have dodge and evasion. So pretty sure it's evade that has entropy and dodge doesn't. But yeah, evade has a pity mechanic where you will eventually get hit. But either way, the evade and dodge attacks is obviously only against attacks. You can never evade a spell, and you can't evade... yeah, you can only evade attacks. You can get dodge for spells, and you can get dodge on attacks, and you can have both. You can have evasion, and what's the actual... What does that cap out at now after the changes? 75 or 90? I can't remember what the actual caps are for both evasion and dodge, but either way, 75, thank you. You can have both. So you could have 75 evasion and 75 dodge. And they're very, very strong. As long as you have high evasion, you could also combine that with block. You'll see some essence drain characters might be max block capped with... oh yeah, sorry, evasion is 95, you're right. But a lot of people will have a layered defense, which is what we're here to talk about. And that is when it's really strong, because just having life, just having evasion, just having armor, that doesn't work, right? You do have to have a multi-layered defense. Now, obviously, this is a lot more important for playing hardcore. On softcore, you can get away with investing a lot less into defense, and just being skilled or dodging things is a huge defense in Path of Exile. So seeing as this episode is mostly going to be aimed at more complicated things. Let's see, let's just open a map here. This is a trickster character, and we're gonna talk about trickster's defenses and why it's so strong. So first we're just gonna let's see. There. So now I'm stunning here with potions up, and you can see that with potions up, it's taking like very, very little damage. If I'm moving, I don't even need potions up. So while it seems very simple, the joke just don't get hit forehead is actually like huge in Path of Exile. I just want to kill this like tormented martyr here. But yeah, just don't get hit in Path of Exile. Oh yeah, my camera is blocking the life. That's kind of unfortunate here. Let me just like move slightly here over the flask for now. Then you want to see when my flask is up? Okay, just temporarily I'll be over here. There. But yeah, so moving in Path of Exile, honestly insane. When you already have defenses on top of it, doesn't matter about the defensive skills. Calm down. Whenever you already have like decent defenses on top of it, you gain like a crazy amount by moving. And for a lot of players, when they're making boss killers and stuff like that, having a mobile character is then honestly a huge part of the defenses. Then I can like stand now in the middle of it, and you can see that I'm basically not taking damage at all. Right? This is with potions up. Now if I let those drop, I'll die fairly quickly. Because this character relies a lot on the Jade Flask in particular. So, going down pretty hard, and then I pop my Jade Flask. Oh, maybe I let it drop a little bit too low. But yeah, the Jade Flask is like the key ingredient here, which we're going to explain in a second. But yeah, Trickster is insanely popular on hardcore right now. And obviously it does get a decent amount of damage and everything like that. It's got good clear speed, but why is it so popular defensively? Well, let's go take a look at it. So, Trickster is like super tanky because of Ghost Dance and Escape Artist. It's also really, really easy to go CI or Chaos Inoculation, which means that your build focuses on stacking Energy Shield. You can see that I only have 1 life here. And for like the purposes of taking damage, life and Energy Shield is the same, right? There's no difference between 1 life and 1 Energy Shield. But we can get a lot more Energy Shield. So even if we have less mitigation, by being able to like barely ever be hit, that can be really nice, because then when you do get hit, you have such a big buffer that you don't get one shot. Another really nice thing here with Trickster is that it has built-in stun immunity, something that is a big struggle for Chaos Inoculation. So that is very, very important too. So let's look a little bit at Ghost Dance first. You do get a 3% chance to evade, and you get 2% reduced damage taken per Ghost Shroud. And then you have Escape Artist. Oh, sorry. And yeah, every 2 seconds you gain a Ghost Shroud up to a maximum of 3. And when hit, lose a Ghost Shroud and recover Energy Shield equal to 4% of your Evasion rating. So right now, that is going to be 68330. Wait, is that right? Right now, I'm only going to recover 273 Energy Shield when I get hit. However, when we pop a Jade Flask, you can see that I have 19,000. Sometimes on other characters as well. Let's see, that's 73. That makes it nearly 800 per hit. And you can very easily get something like 30,000 Energy Shield. I think the last ED character I did had like 33,000 Energy Shield, or last Trickster I did. And then you get 1,300 Energy Shield each time you get hit. And obviously, because of the high evasion, you're barely getting hit to begin with. You also get 10% movement speed. 30k evasion, not Energy Shield, sorry. And then you have Escape Artist, which is 5% evasion rating per maximum Energy Shield on the helmet. So, obviously, you're not getting a shit ton there. But then, +1 max Energy Shield per 6 evasion on the body armor. So we can do 1 6 divided by 6. So this is basically for more yeah, it's basically the same as a Val Regalia with 730 Energy Shield, except that we're still getting the evasion on top of that. So it's just like better. And then you have the attack and cast speed per Ghost Shroud, and you can't be stunned, and you get 10% dodge spells if you have Energy Shield. If you don't have Energy Shield, you're probably dead. So it is a very, very strong ascendancy defensively. And yeah, like I said, I've had several Tricksters where I've had like 30,000 Energy Shield. Now, this is just a very, very high damage character. I think like buffed, it has like 900,000 damage tooltip. Let's see. Maybe one of my mods can help me find a character, like a trickster like this, that has the evasion, or sorry, energy shield. You know, I did one in the gauntlet. What was the one I had in the gauntlet? But I do have some characters with energy shield on block, and that is insane with glancing blows, which we're about to talk about now. So what glancing blows does is that your chance to block attack and spell damage is doubled, and you take 50% of the damage. However, it will actually not remove a ghost dance charge through glancing blows, even though you're taking 50% of the damage. Same with if you're using the crab. The crab portal skill, whatever it's called, aspect of the crab, that also does not get removed while taking damage through glancing blows. So you basically get 20% damage reduction. Glancing blows might get nerfed next patch. We don't know, and the way this interaction works might get changed. But that makes glancing blows like insanely strong. Let's see, Zizaran go again has ES on block. Is that on standard? This one? Let's see. So we can show the difference. So that was like just a very, very high. Oh yeah, this was my gauntlet character. So let's do a map here, and now we can show the difference with having energy shield on block. So the other character, while still like fairly decently tanky, it didn't have the mod that's on the shield here, which is it's recover 3 to 5% of energy shield when you block, and it's insanely strong with glancing. We'll, let's see. First we'll... I don't have crab on this one, sadly. I do have one character with crab. Oh, wait. There. There we go. So first, let's try standing still without any potions. And you can see that this character is infinitely tankier. This is with... Oh, you can't see. You can see that this character is infinitely tankier. This is basically the same character. And now I'm not even using potions. And these monsters can't even kill me. There's several ranged monsters trying to attack me. I'm standing in the middle of the pack. And I do have... I should have trigger... Hold on. There, oh, I have Tempest Shield online. But yeah, so these monsters basically can't kill me. And the big difference here is that mod. Recover energy shield when you block. So then I have the Ghost Routes on top of this. If I pop my Flask now, you can see that they're barely even hitting me, right? Like it's barely even moving. So on this character, I do have 30,000 energy shield, like I just talked about. Let's see if we can get a few more monsters that can actually hit me. And like, you're obviously not meant to stand here face stacking like this, but you can. And what that means is that if your character disconnects and stays in the game for a few seconds, you're probably going to survive. The only thing that actually killed this character, while it was a bit unlucky, because I have 75% spell damage block, was actually the DD, the DD box. And normally, for characters like this, they're not a problem, because you have like the spell dodge, you have the spell block, and normally you're never going to die from it. You can still get unlucky. But if you're already playing safe, then these characters are insanely tanky. We can just move over here towards like the boss or whatever and see if that can do any damage. And again, this is mostly the shield carrying, and you can see that it takes the mobs a long time to do anything, and then when I pop my Flask, then my energy shield goes like rapidly up. Now obviously this is while standing still. If I'm moving around, nothing has a chance to kill me at all, right? There's nothing here that can kill me. Flask up or down. Literally nothing here can kill me. So that is like one example of a layered defense really, really being strong. And obviously even stronger while moving. So, to reiterate, like the core part here is, and what we're using, and again, you saw... My hideout's super dark? Is it nighttime? The hell? Anyway, so obviously there you saw without Flasks how strong it was. And the main thing here is the recover ES on block combined with being max block. Which is easy with glancing blows. And then I could have the aspect of the crab on top of this for a not permanent 20% phys reduction, but fairly often. While moving, I never saw it go down per map. And that's because that isn't removed with a glancing blow hit. That's pretty much all the defenses we have on this character, combined with a pretty high ES buffer. Temporal Chains Gloves? I don't have Temporal Chains Gloves. That's a different character. Do you think blocker glancing blows will get nerfed? Maybe. But I still want to like talk about a lot of like different layered defenses. Right, let's see. We can go show another layered defense. But obviously, yeah, Trickster, very, very nice. How to layer defense on Ranger. There you have to throw in a bunch of prayer. Wind Dancer good? Yeah, it can be decent. Right, so now let's talk about probably my favorite way of defense, which is Zibakwa. Let's see, I think I can... Maybe I should just stay here, because the skills aren't really important for this lesson. So I'm just going to stay here. So, Glorious Vanity, bathed in the blood of whatever, sacrificed in the name of Zibakwa. This is also called Divine Flesh, and is very, very strong. Insanely strong defense. So what does it do? All damage taken bypasses energy shield. I really wish that it also had like your energy shield is 0, because it can get annoying to see your life through this. But yeah, 50% of elemental damage taken as chaos damage and 10% max chaos resist. So the way you do it on these characters then is that you try to get 90 max chaos rest, or as close to as you can. And then you get, anytime you take any other damage, this includes the fire damage from Righteous Fire. You can see that I'm tanking Righteous Fire, and I only have 81 fire rest. But obviously, I have 81 fire max rest, and the other 50% of the damage I'm taking is being taken on the 88% of the chaos. So how are we getting the max rest, first of all? So obviously, the normal max rest is 75, and that gets popped up to 85 by Divine Flesh itself. Then there's a couple of different ways to get more max rest. You have Sappho's Frame, that gives you all max rest. The endurance charge is dropped off, so we'll just let the character go down to 1 life here. Thankfully, you can't die from Righteous Fire. It'll just go down to 1 life and then stop. But yeah, Sappho's Frame is one option, but then you don't have block. Like, you don't have attack block, which is annoying. So one good way, and this is actually surprisingly easy to roll, is a small cluster with chaos resistance with Born of Chaos. Then you instantly get it up to 88. And generally that is enough. Then you're already very tanky. And then having like fairly high elemental resistances on top of that is like pretty decent. So like getting anywhere from like 80 to 82 is really, really nice, but that can be hard to do. Let's see. And like I have like +2 max rest cold here. I did kind of want to fit Soul of Steel, but I didn't get enough skill points, and the same with Anointed Flesh is really good as well. And then getting the kit. Oh, also, I don't have that on this, but depending on the number, the way that the Glorious Vanity works is like the name will affect the keystone. So no matter where I put this, any keystone will be turned into Divine Flesh. But the number changes, like it's completely random with like everything here will be changed. And sometimes these can be max chaos rest. So you would just search for chaos, and then sometimes it'll say like +1 maximum chaos rest. So you can very easily get 1 or 2, but that's just by dividing. Obviously, you do need to divide until you still have Zibakwa as well. But yeah, that number changes from anywhere between 100 and 8,000. So we have the chaos rest, and then a hard part is getting enough chaos resistance. So obviously, we're getting a large amount here from the small cluster. We have 17 chaos rests per small here. That helps a lot. Then you can see my gear. I have 28. None here. None here. None here. None here. Where do I get chaos rest from? 30 here. None here. And 35 here. And it does actually quickly add up. Anointment, double chaos rest. You never really want to use that. It's always easy to get it on your gear. And that would, in my opinion, be a wasted anoint. Like here I'm using Arcane Swiftness so that I'm ailment immune. Actually, I'm not ailment immune right now, but I want it to be. I'm almost ailment immune. So this character is one of the tankiest I've ever had. So if I have a map I can do. Just do a random white map real quick. We should have rolled something actually. But so without Righteous Fire, I'm insanely tanky. But even with Righteous Fire, I'm very tanky. So we can see here, this one has Purity of Fire, it has Herald of Ash, Herald of Purity, and Aspect of the Spider. And this is actually... Damn it, that was just my Flame Dash that killed them. This character just kills everything just by existing. And now I don't have endurance charges anyway. But yeah, as you can see, it's very, very tanky. And I normally would clear with Righteous Fire up. It's actually been one of my favorite characters this league. And I really, really enjoyed playing it. Because I was very pleased with myself. This is a character I stole from Nugi. But then when I started playing the character, I was like, why isn't he just permanently running Righteous Fire? Because I figured with a few changes, you could very easily run Righteous Fire and then easily clear with just right-clicking. So this is actually just using Blade Blast to clear. Every time I right-click, I do 250,000 damage. So this is like probably 1.5 million DPS just right-clicking. Yeah, you don't need to focus that much on elemental resist when you have that jewel, but I mean, it's still nice. It still like helps with the tank, but yeah. Because just the back whip puts it at like 79 all rest or something, I can't remember. This is a dream character. Well, I mean, I generally have defenses like this on one character per league. And it's like, and that's without Harvest. Obviously, Harvest makes it obscure. But yeah, and this is like a crazy, crazy boss character. There. And I was able to just do like level 8 Awakener, Uber Elder, everything, right? So yeah, it has basically max block. It's 74. And then on top of that, it has the Zibakwa. But this is actually probably the most multi-layer defense character I've ever had. Because it has more defenses too. On top of that, I have Enduring Cry. This is actually a very cool thing that I've used a lot. I'm using Call to Arms, and then I have Enduring Cry on left click. And a lot of players play like this. But you should pretty much always have something on left click that is instant. Enduring Cry only works on your left click if you have Call to Arms. But you could put like Immortal Call or something nice there. Oh yeah, you guys can't see that. God damn it, there's like no good spot for me here. Here? Maybe I can be here. There's no... Actually, I'm not going to show my health bar anymore. But yeah, so you can see that Enduring Cry. Do this yet. It works without LOL. You don't need C2A. Sorry, I'm really sorry, but I can't even fathom how horrible your existence is if you're actually playing with Enduring Cry on left click without Call to Arms. The fact that your character stops and actually casts Enduring Cry, oh my god, that's like forcibly playing with 700 ping. I would never recommend that to anybody, and that would be like some sort of like torture thing. Remove it and show. Wait, it doesn't even work. It doesn't even work on left click. Oh wait, it does if I do this, right? Yeah. This is horrible. How the fuck can you play like this? I could never do that. Support for Warcry speed? Or just travel down here instead. There's no way you could ever force me to play like that. That would be like losing a bet. Anyway. So, Call to Arms really, really nice. And then putting Enduring Cry on left mouse button. And very, very nice defensively. We can see that the regen is already quite high on this character. But it peaks at 2.7 then. Which is actually affected by life recovery rate too. And I don't think that always shows here in-game. It's a bit buggy. But there's actually more. There's more to this character. There's other layers of defense. So here you can see that we have 10% physical damage taken as fire. And obviously we do have 6 endurance charges. But we have 10% physical damage taken as fire here from Tassalio, Cleansing Water. Then on the helmet, I have a further 8% physical damage taken as fire damage. And here... Oh, wait. Where is it? Oh, I was supposed to. I was supposed to have one more physical damage taken as fire. And I do also have physical damage reduction here. Here I have another 5% physical damage reduction. So you can see that I have multiple layers of... because multiple layers of fizz reduction. Because my fizz reduction isn't that crazy. I only have the 6 endurance charges. And I'm actually not playing with Fortify on this character. It's so obscurely tanky, I just didn't feel like I needed it. But if I wanted the character to like... Well, actually, it never died. But if I wanted the character to just never ever die, I could throw in Vigilant Strike with the jewel that looks like a pizza. Where is it? What's it called? Is it the Vigil? I think it's the Vigil. Yeah, the Vigil. This makes it last for a lot longer. I think it ends up being like 20 or 30 seconds. But either way, the Vigilant Strike Fortify lasts for a long time and gives you another 20% damage reduction on top of this. So yeah, the way this works with the physical damage taken as fire, I've invested into getting more max fire rest because of that. And I actually wanted 2 more. I was hoping to get a different shield that would have like +1, or sorry, either +3 max fire rest or +2 max all rest would have been the ideal shield. But because that I have more fire reduction than fizz, then that is actually like insanely strong. Now, we didn't know about this for a while, but sadly conversion can't happen twice in Path of Exile while taking it. So something that can't happen, I can't have... Let's say I take 1,000 physical damage. Part of that gets converted to fire damage, and I take it as fire damage and then resist it as fire. But that fire damage, half of that is not taken as chaos. Sadly. I had basically theory crafted a semi-immortal character. I think I only had like 800 life or 1,500 life. And it was basically immortal. I did Uber Elder on hardcore with like 1.5k life. But because it doesn't... I did actually die because we didn't know how the order of operation worked. I only died because my endurance charges dropped as well. Due to... There was a weird bug back then with endurance charges not generating properly. So I enter, my endurance charges are down when they shouldn't be. And that ended up killing me, which was a bit sad. But that also made us learn that you can't have damage taken as fire, taken as chaos. And we did get that confirmed by devs at some point too. Which is sad, because that would make it very, very easy to make insane characters. Didn't know that. I thought 20 fizz to fire is 50% chaos. Yeah, I thought so too. I thought so too. I died, so it's a bug? No, I very rarely blame it on things out of my control. Normally, it's me being dumb. But, yeah. So that is a very, very nice defense. And that's why you'll see people using, like, Taste of Hate as well. Which is, let's see. I think I have one lying around. Yeah, Taste of Hate is... up to, it's 20% physical damage from hits taken as cold damage. So this is really good for characters that you have 75 resists or 80 resists, but you have very, very low fist mitigation. So that is very, very nice there. And then, yeah, on top of all that, I have the life regen and the block on top of it. Oh, and there's one more layer. I have cast when damage taken, Immortal Call. So because I'm spamming Enduring Cry, and I'm also, like, gain endurance charge every second if you've used a Warcry recently. As soon as Immortal Call, and this is 15% less fist damage taken per endurance charge removed. So like my fist mitigation is like kind of capped there as well, because I do get the, yeah, I mean it's over capped. And then it has the 34% less elemental damage and fist damage taken on top. That only lasts for 3 seconds. Plus increased duration per endurance charge. I can't remember exactly how long the Immortal Call lasts. But at least it's basically back by the time the Immortal Call is down. 90% fist reduction is the cap. 90% any reduction. Well, I mean, there's some other things. It only consumes up to 5 charges. Is it? Oh, yeah, it is up to 5. But it's still capped. It's still capped even with just 5. Incandescent Heart with CI is nice defense too. That is true. That is true. And whenever you're playing builds like this with really high chaos rest, if you can ever get like the physical damage taken as chaos, which is pretty rare, you can roll it on hunter chests. You can also find it on delve helmets. I'll show you the... This is like one of the... It's probably the second coolest item I've ever identified and found. I'm trying to remember what character is on right now. It survived everything. It's still alive. It's a necromancer. I think it's this one. No, maybe it's higher level. It's a necromancer skeleton build. Actually, it might be this character. And it's so cool that I really want to flex and show it off. It is this character. So this is another very layered defense character. So this is a skeleton summoner, which is using skeletons to do a lot of single target damage. Got a couple of million. And this is using a very old item called Lightning Coil. This used to be a very, very popular defense, and it's very similar to how you saw the other characters structured. So this is 30% of physical damage taken as lightning. This is also using Zibakwa. I think it has, yeah, this is 90 Chaos Rest, and it has 81, 80, and 85. And I was like, well, because of both Zibakwa, we'll talk a little bit, there's more to talk about with Zibakwa too, because it's really strong with conversion. But because of both Zibakwa and the high elemental res, I'm basically immortal to elemental damage, right? So how are we going to solve the physical damage issue? So first of all, I have Fortify from Vigilant Strike. That already makes me very, very tanky. Let's see. I normally would be like fully res capped. Oh, it is right now as well. But then I have to like figure out how do I get all the physical mitigation that I possibly can on top of that. So on this character, I'm using minimum endurance charges. These are very, very strong, and basically means that there's nothing that can remove these. They can't be consumed for any sort of defense like Immortal Call. They're just permanently on the character. The way I'm getting 4 is 3 from the crafts. Ring Amulet. No, this character never died. It never came close to dying. It was just face tanking Awakener Meteors. And then I have another one from Anointing, Disciple of the Unyielding. Then I have... Well, I used to have physical mitigation from Soul of Steel, then they ruthlessly removed that. And this wasn't in the game back then. The characters could be a little bit better now. And you can see here's an example of the Zibakwa jewel giving you +1 max chaos rest. And then I have loads of... Oh, yeah. Here's the helmet that I really wanted to show off. This dropped like this. I haven't done anything with it. It just dropped like this. So it's +2 minion gems, 98 life, and I needed the int too. 51 int, and then most importantly, 10% of physical damage taken as chaos damage. It's insane. They drop in Delve, and it dropped on a bone helmet. So I was just like, what the fuck is this? The only better item that I've ever identified was a triple tier 1 energy shield Valregalia. So that was a Valregalia with 981 energy shield. It's the only thing that I've identified that's better than this. You very rarely ID items this insane. This isn't craftable either, which is why it's so special. Because that mod, 10% physical damage taken as chaos, it only drops from Delve and can't be crafted. Can you trade on hardcore in PoE? Yeah, but not if you're playing solo self-found. So on this character, kind of similar to the last one, but you can see that I'm running like Purity of Lightning. So I have like a lot of fist damage taken as lightning, fist damage taken as chaos, lightning damage taken as chaos and stuff like that. And then I have 85, 90. This character like never came close to dying. Even though I only have 6,400 life. And I remember when like doing Uber Azir or Uber Elder, people would be like 6.4k life doing these bosses on hardcore. Like, actually this character doesn't work anymore because of changes. I can't remember what broke. Or maybe it works? I don't know, but something broke with the build. They changed something. It's not as tanky anymore. But something's broken. I can't even find maps. It's like taking so long to load. Let's see. I mean, I don't really mind if it dies now as part of a test. Double taking damage as nerfed? No, something else got nerfed. I mean, Soul of Steel got nerfed. How expensive? It wasn't too expensive to set up. And normally I would have a different setup. I can't remember what I changed, but I usually change something for clearing. Or maybe I stopped doing any sort of clearing with this. I only started using it for bosses. So it actually has like a little over like 1 or 2 million DPS. But it has like no clear speed at all. Oh yeah, Molten Shell got nerfed as well. Let's see if I can just face tank something. It might actually die, because... I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. But either way, this was a character I would mostly do like Uber Elder, Uber Ziri, and level 8 Awakener. Skeletons are nerfed? Yeah, like a lot about this was nerfed. Oh yeah, and Fortify got nerfed. But either way, like I was literally face tanking the meteor from Awakener, standing dead in the center and just being like, yo! And it would do like 1,000 damage to me. Yeah, it's completely DC proof. Oh yeah, the face hides the HP pool. But either way, it was super tanky. Super, super tanky. And yeah, you have a health bar here in the middle. So this is very, very similar to the other character with the multi-layered defense there. Now, there is one thing that we haven't talked about yet, which is one of the main reasons for why Zibakwa is so tanky, or why Divine Flesh is so tanky. First of all, it's 50% of elemental damage taken as chaos damage. Normally, you'll see the wording is slightly different. See this one? Physical damage taken from hits as chaos damage. This is a very important wording difference, because that means that the Divine Flesh works on degens, which can be notoriously hard to survive. So some like fist degens or some elemental degens can be like very, very dangerous. And there is another thing that is so strong about the conversion, and that there is several sources in the game that use elemental penetration. For example, the yellow black balls that the Shaper will like pound out, they have cold penetration. Now, if you have a character and you can actually get 100% of cold damage converted to something else, using talismans, and that's like one of the like last uses of talismans, because you have one talisman that is like cold damage taken as fire or cold damage taken as lightning. So if you're using the Divine Flesh node here and a talisman, you can face tank the Shaper balls. They actually do very little damage. The main reason that they do so much damage in one-shot characters is because of the penetration. Can't remember exactly how much. It's like 25 or 20% penetration. So because of that, and say, oh yeah, 25. So because of that, if you have a character with 75 cold rest, you only have 50, right? But yeah. But if you're then going in with like, you're taking the damage on your 90% resist and it's not getting penetrated against, then it does very little damage. And the boss is super trivial. And again, it's very strong because of the degen conversion too. Yeah, we're gonna cover all the defenses. We have another hour that we're gonna be talking. So that is a little bit about the glorious vanity Sabakwa. Let's see. Do I have a ranger I can log on for some ranger defenses? I haven't had one lately. Coca-Cola sponsored? No, but I wish. That would be great. Yeah, we'll talk about Soul Tether too. Oh, this character doesn't have... Oh, this is a Quant Farmer. What about this? Ranger defense. Well, there's a lot of things you can do for defense on Ranger and Assassins, and without going Energy Shield. Yeah, like... It's not really a good example, but a lot of Ranger builds, I end up going with a Combs Heart and trying to get 6 or 7k life. It's very, very hard to get enough life or any form of defense on a Ranger. Obviously, Ranger characters are very like notorious for being mobile. Like they will be like have a lot of movement, and then you don't get hit that much. The most popular form of defense is acrobatics and face acrobatics. Obviously not used that much on Tricksters, except for something that's popular on Tricksters will be to grab a Thread of Hope and taking face acro and going for full dodge. But yeah, acrobatics, face acrobatics is very, very popular. Somebody in chat just pointed out Kintsugi as well. Kintsugi, PoE crashed again. Kintsugi is actually very, very strong, especially with glancing blows, because the Kintsugi damage reduction again does not get removed with glancing blows. So you can take damage, Kintsugi will mitigate it, and you will continue to mitigate it until you actually get a pure hit. But let's show a Kintsugi, because it is actually quite nice. 20% less damage taken if you have not been hit recently. And like I just explained, if you get hit through, if you block with glancing blow, then it doesn't count as you were hit recently. So you still keep that 20% damage reduction. But yeah, Kintsugi, Combs Heart, very popular. Yeah, Wind Dancer is nice, and Arrow Dancing is pretty popular as well, because you're very rarely going to get hit by melee characters. What's the name of the one the Wind Dancer's on? They didn't put Wind Dancer on the tree, right? It's still on the Marketh one? Oh no, they did put it on the tree. Sorry, I forgot. So yeah, 20% less damage taken if you haven't been hit recently. 40% less evasion rating if you haven't been hit recently. And then 20% more evasion rating if you have been hit recently. So, and this stacks with Kintsugi as well. And if you do manage to work in glancing blows, that 40% damage mitigation is going to work until you don't block, and then yeah, then you really get hit hard. So yeah, Wind Dancer and Kintsugi starts. No Witnesses is nice as well. No Witnesses is very nice. Elusive obviously grants you a lot of dodge. Also movement speed, which honestly is a huge layer of defense. No, we haven't talked about Blind yet. We'll talk about that in a sec. I'll bring up the wiki page for it. But yeah, so those are like a couple of like ways there. I think what I end up doing the most when playing, especially Ranger, like Deadeye characters and stuff, I feel like I rely a lot on Abyssal Jewels. More than any other character, Rangers really like rely a bit. Oh, sorry. Long night. Rangers really rely on actually nicely rolled jewels. So some of my Rangers in the past have ended up investing like 10 to 80x in jewels, like getting like really, really nice ones. And that's generally how I make them hardcore viable, which is sad because honestly, both Assassin and Deadeye, they don't have the most amazing the defenses. Getting blind on hit is really, really nice for these. So we can open up the wiki page for blind. And blind, known as blinded, instead is a debuff that lessens the chance to hit off the affected target by 50%. So if you're either throwing down a smoke trap and they're standing in the smoke cloud, or you're using blind for the on hit, or you're using blind from a Stibnite, that will all like give them 50% chance to miss you. What does nearby even mean? So sadly, anything that has nearby on it is, yeah, nearby is from here to 3 screens off pretty much. Here we'll have some like, let's see, distance, nearby. The definition of nearby on Redeemer is 35 units. Nearby on Singularity, let's see. Nearby on Belt of the Deceiver is 25 units. Nearby on Conduit is 120 units. So it's like, awesome, GGG. Why couldn't they just give us the units? Why don't they just write within 70 units or within 85 units? It would be so much easier. The fact that it says nearby is just really shit. At least recently, always is 4 seconds, right? That's consistent. Here they're very consistently inconsistent. So that means that nearby is anywhere from here to Conduit is like here, which is kind of shit. How far is a unit? I think that is 5 units. That is 10, I think. Hard to tell. Yeah, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40. So Belt of the Deceiver goes to like here. I think that was 35. What about Lucky? Lucky is that it takes the roll twice and takes the higher result. But yeah. So yeah, blind is really good. And the thing that we're about to talk about next is the most important thing for any character. Especially early. And that is Flasks. Flasks on any character is a huge source of defense, especially early on. Granite, Jade, and Basalt They're just insane early, especially Granite and Jade. If you're ever struggling with, like, you know, the porcupines that explode on death, a Granite or a Granite and a Jade will make you, like, virtually immune to these. And you're barely ever going to be hit. So that's why a lot of the time I used to do something called the Sunday roast. I've stopped doing these, but a very common theme was that a lot of people would be like, hey, Zizaran, I have okay damage, but I have very low defenses. I've currently died 756 times. What can I do to improve my defense? And sometimes they would have like 4 life flasks and a quicksilver. Sometimes like 3 life flasks and 2 mana flasks. But very consistently, you'd see very few people would have Granite and Jade flasks. And more importantly, they would definitely not roll them. So the common trend that you'll see in most of my flasks when I actually give a shit is that the prefix will always be either Alchemist or Chemist. Alchemist is sort of something you have to reserve for characters that can clear very, very fast and make sure that they stay up permanently. Because when you're playing the game, you're basically playing like this, right? You want to keep your flasks up pretty much all the time. But Chemist is the best one. If you're wondering whether, like, you know, should you use Duration? Should you use increased charge recovery? But Chemist is actually objectively the best one, where you'll get the most use. Fast macro? If you feel like this is too fast and has to be a fast macro, I don't know. Anyway, so Chemist is the best prefix. And then in order, the most important immunities, you really want Bleed immunity, then Freeze immunity, then Curse immunity, then Shock immunity. That's why, like, Ailment immunity has become very, very popular on builds lately, where you get 100% chance to avoid ailments. Why is Chemist better? That's when you have the most uptime on your flasks, compared to increased duration or charge recovery. Why not Poison? Poison is fairly easily countered about Shakari. We'll talk about that in a second. But yeah, Poison is fairly dangerous, but it's not something I've ever bothered rolling on a flask. Bleed immunity, mostly because of Corrupting Blood. You can get a jewel with Corrupting Blood immunity. Do I have that on this character? Yeah, you can get a jewel with Corrupting Blood immunity. Now, make no mistake, you can still bleed while having this on you. So, for example, the Racecourse boss, the Canyon boss, some bosses, or while you're cursed with vulnerability, you can still bleed. That can still kill you. But most of the time, that's like not going to very rapidly kill you. Whereas Corrupting Blood is like the #1 thing. Yeah, all in the Toll Breachers. Corrupting Blood is the #1 thing that will, like, very, very easily kill you there. You can still have Bleed immunity and Corrupting Blood immunity. Ailments are very important for life builds. Like, Freeze and Bleed immunity, I would say, are mandatory for playing the game. And Curses as well. Like, it's kind of mandatory for playing the game. Having immunity to curses means that you can roll, like, vulnerability, elemental weakness, temporal chains on maps and completely ignore them, so they're just free quantity. Curses are changing a little bit nicely with, like, marks and hexes. Well, actually, the element immunity from Raider is very, very good. But if you look at a lot of my characters, you'll see that a common trend. What's this using? Probably like Jade, Granite, and something else. Yeah. So this is using a Granite, a Jade, and a Quartz flask. Quartz is actually probably one of the more underrated flasks. It's actually insane. Now, a lot of people probably commonly use Quartz for delving, and that's when I feel like it started getting a lot more use. But people also started realizing just how good it is. Obviously, the 10% chance to dodge both attacks and spells are really, really good, right? They're insane. But the true power of the Quartz flask is not getting stuck in random shit, because that is honestly so dangerous in Path of Exile. Just we can show in Blood Aqueduct real quick here now that if I run into mobs right now, and I'm not able to move through them, they can instantly start doing damage to me if I get stuck in things. Whereas just by being able to run through them, nothing is going to, like, touch you a lot of the time. So it is honestly a huge sense of defense just from being able to phase right through them. I'm sure a lot of us have all had deaths to where you're running into a mob, maybe in a bad position, and you get stuck. So that's why, like, a Quartz flask is pretty much always included in my the builds that I'm personally playing lately. So you can see, like, I don't get hit once, with the Quartz Flask up. But then once the Quartz and the other Flasks are down, you can see that you get stuck a lot more in the monsters. And even the melee, it's just a lot easier to hit you. So I would say that that is definitely one of the things that is the most underrated by new players. Is that, you know, movement. Please talk about how to deal with Hunter's poison damage. Sure. So let's talk about poison. So chaos resist is fairly important. I usually try to get it to at least like close to 0. You're not expected to have like 75 chaos rest on any character. And if you do, if you've ever had a character with 75 chaos rest, you feel like the chaos damage just does nothing, right? Because the game is designed with like, fuck, dude, these players aren't gonna like bother with chaos resist. So there's not that many sources of chaos damage in the game. The most dangerous one being Al-Hazmin and all his mobs. So what I will normally do on a lot of characters is I will very quickly upgrade this, Capture Terror of the Infinite Darks, because poison is very, very strong once you start getting like 10, 20, 30 plus charges. And that's killed me quite a lot. Because even a lot of like small stacks, they like really, really add up. So you cannot be poisoned while there are at least 5 poisons on you. Very, very nice. You might end up like getting like 4 small poisons. And then 1 like slightly medium one. And then maybe you were about to get a bunch more and this makes you immune. So that helps a lot. And for Al-Hazmin, I would recommend trying to get close to 0. Aziri's Promise is an insanely good flask just because of the fact that it does give chaos stress. Yeah, it really, really does make a big difference. Really does make a big difference. Can this build farm tier 13 blind maps from start without many expensive items? Currently, yes, but we don't know if this is going to get nerfed. It's also a lot easier to do this in Harvest than it is to do because we're losing deterministic crafting. How do you upgrade the Pantheon? Sure, that's a good thing to talk about. And we'll talk a little bit more about Pantheons now. So you need one of these. It's a Divine Vessel. And then you would go look at your Pantheon. It's like, Terror of the Infinite Darts. Well, where is Terror of the Infinite Darts? Oh, cool. It's on Desert Spring. Then you need to go make sure you have a Desert Spring map. Which is currently at tier 15. Obviously, this changes. And then you just go put this in. Like this. Then you go... Well, we can do that while talking. Then you go kill the boss. Once you've killed the boss, you need to go back to the map device. And then talk to... This is a tier 15 map on a 79 character. But I mean... It's Harvest, so all my characters are kind of busted this league. But once you have that, you need to go talk to Sin. And then he will just like finish upgrading your Pantheon. He'll just like fill it in. Let's just like run real quick. Just kill the bosses quickly. I mean, this one doesn't actually have multiple... Well, it has one phase. Also, I don't really have damage on this character. I'll just not get hit. So it's like, it's a level 79 character that just started doing like tier 5 maps. But that's fine. If you don't get hit in Path of Exile, you can't die. Honestly, like this one in particular is a pain just because you have to like wait through this like stupid corridor. But this is also probably the most done one. The one that's the most worth. Twin build? It's still killing things. Here, Scorpion, Scorpion, Scorpion. Honestly, pretty good damage for a chaos thing that's this low level. I don't have really good gear either. Actually decent. And at least I'm not dead yet. There. Go inside. Oh, some slow moving scorpion. Where are ya? Look how slow it is because it's been like debuffed. There. And there are actually like quite a lot of Pantheons worth doing. There. So, now that we've done that, you're gonna see that you will notice the Pantheon thing is in your chest. Then you go talk to Sin, which you usually have to go 10 works. Search for the name of the god you want to upgrade. It will highlight all the maps you have to do. Yes, that is what we just showed off. We literally just showed everybody that. As part of the lesson. Right, so now we have that upgraded. And then you can see that like we have the major ones as well. There are like several good ones. Let's talk about the good ones. I quite often upgrade this, Stalker of the Endless Dunes, which is 6% more movement speed if you haven't been hit recently. And obviously with the way I play, I generally don't get hit a lot. I will quite often use Soul of Ralakesh. A lot of, especially new players, don't know about this. But if you put this on before doing lab, and stuff like that, you search for Terry, not Solaris, and so... Right, you mean like this? Yes, this will search for like all of them. You're right. That is a good thing. Sorry. You're right. Anyway. So yeah, if you're doing lab, then this will make while you're moving 25% less fist damage or over time taken while moving. And that helps with a lot of the traps, especially the like saw blades that are moving, because you're always moving while taking damage from this. So most things can't reduce the damage you take from lab, but this can. So that's quite nice. So I always have this for like the first 2 days usually of the league. Or at least until I do Uber Lab, which is like 12 to 14 hours into the league start. And then I'll quickly switch to that usually. Some people like this for the life charges coming back. And do remember, just like bringing Enduring Cry and self-casting, that is really, really nice as well. I never bother. Like, I would never recommend Rislatha for lab. If you're worried about like your life, then bring Enduring Cry in. But I would never say you should use Soul of Rislatha for ascending. Soul of Ralakesh and Enduring Cry is like way, way better. And then for the major ones, early on, Soul of the Brine King can save you so much. You're like usually low. It can, let's see, it can help you with just not getting stun locked easily. So very, very good. I usually don't bother upgrading this a lot. The ones that I'll upgrade the most frequently is probably Solaris is probably the one I upgrade the most. 8% reduced elemental damage if you haven't taken a hit recently. Extremely good for bosses because, you know, it's just 8% damage mitigation when you do actually get hit. Most of the time you aren't getting hit at all. And then take no extra damage from critical strikes if you take a critical strike recently is insanely good because the way crits work from enemies in Path of Exile, especially things that have like multiple attacks, like say for example that a monster or an exile casts a Valspark. If that crits, the entire thing crits. Every single small spark will be a crit. What that means then is that you're only taking the extra damage from a crit every 4 seconds. And there are several mechanics like this in Path of Exile that have like attacks that count as one attack, but there's hundreds of them. And then everything in that chain is going to crit, which is very, very, very dangerous. So Eater of Souls, very, very nice there. Kitava, obviously avoid ailments from critical strikes. Serious Beam does that too? Yes. Yes, it does. And then this one is very nice. This is kind of mandatory for summoners with the avoid projectiles that have been chained. And then avoid projectiles, more dodge, more movement speed is pretty good. This used to be kind of glitchable. You could permanently get the 50% increased recovery rate by doing cast when I was taking Blood Rage. That doesn't work anymore. It doesn't count as like losing damage over time, sadly. But yeah, it can be like decent for a lot of characters. I think it's individually calculated, Lupus. The Serious Beam can crit? Yeah, most boss things can crit. Most boss things can crit. So that's like Pantheons. What else do we need to talk about? What else do we need to talk about? And do remember that the like life gained on hit is very, very strong as well, not just evasion. Oh, this actually is a fun character because it has the recover life and energy shield on block. So it's a nice hybrid. Yeah, ailment immunity, and sure, we can talk about anti-stun as well. So ailment immunity, I don't think I have a character that has full ailment immunity right now. But it's very, very popular to do. You can get ailment immunity, so you'll get a certain percent on different things. So like you can get ailment immunity on your gloves, you can get it on your helmet, you can get it on your chest, and you can get it on boots. Wait, am I fully ailment immune? I actually might be. Let me check real quick. 25 plus 22 plus 35. And then I have this, which is 20. Yeah, so this character is actually ailment immune. This character is currently ailment immune. This is 102% chance to avoid ailments. Oh yeah, where does it say in the sheet? I always end up calculating myself. Where even is it? Oh yeah, here. Ignite avoidance, chill avoidance, freeze avoidance, and shock avoidance. So since this is over 100, that means that I don't need shock immunity, I don't need freeze immunity, and I'm just like permanently immune to it. Which is like huge. It's huge, right? And then you like free up more stuff in your flasks, so you can put in, you know, Katarina has some like flask stone veils you can do. Like you can get crit, you can get movement speed, stun avoidance, and things like that. But not an elemental one. What's up? But shock doesn't make you immune to crits, right? No, this is nothing to do with crits. Like you can, if a lightning damage attack crits you, you will get shocked. So you would be immune to the shock part, but not the extra damage. This build for casuals? I have no idea. The upcoming league, we have no idea what's going to be good or not. One might say it's OP. It's very, very good for boss killing. So if you're doing just maps, there's no issue with just getting your ailment immunity from stuff like this. And yeah, we would be immune to shocking ground too. Let's see. I wonder if we can get shocking ground so we can show, but I'm pretty sure that it will still show the debuff. I just want I want to take more damage. There. So yeah, with 100% or more, then yeah, you will be avoiding the actual ground effect too. I wonder if it still shows the debuff though. Let's go find out. Let's go find out. It still shows the debuff? Is it no region map? No, it doesn't. It doesn't show the debuff. Yeah, it doesn't show it at all. So yeah, you can see that it does actually work. Impulse is different because that cannot be affected by. But yeah, so this like just does make me immune to like everything. You can see here that I have cursed immunity on my flask. The other one's like whatever. I actually should be using a different flask. And we can talk about that too, actually. That's useful to talk about. There is a really, really nice quartz flask. This one. Forbidden Taste. This is what I should be using now because I am freeze immune. And obviously, this only gives me 979 life plus whatever from life recovery. So maybe 1.4 or something. But it doesn't give me that much. I have 7.5k life, whereas this one is actually going to put me to basically full and then take some chaos damage. But obviously, I have 88% chaos rest. So it doesn't actually harm me at all. Well, it does keep it at 2 less damage. This is actually a flask. You never want to quality this because the there's never a reason to quality this, pretty much. It'll make the quartz it'll make the quartz part last longer. However, or does it actually make it last longer? I can't even remember. Maybe it even doesn't make the. Oh yeah, okay. It'll make the quartz part last longer, but it'll also make you take damage for 1 second more. Explain the difference by unaffected and avoid. So unavoid would be, for example, on an Impulsa. I don't actually have one that I can show. Hold on, PoE Impulsa. Impulsa is unaffected by lightning or unaffected by shock. This is even better than being immune because this lets you use, for example, while the player is shocked, you get 60% more lightning damage or something, right? Like, for example, there are things like that. How important is quality on flasks? Fairly important. They're also very, very easy to do. A quick tip for that. A lot of people we'll go like, oh man, I never find enough baubles. Look how few I have. I only have 26. And hopefully I'll blow at least one person's mind. Oops. You can buy baubles from the vendor. Every 8 whetstones is bubbles. So then you can like very, very easily just like farm up enough at least for like 1 set of flasks. And then remember with like everything like this, when you're using it on an item while white, obviously not with gem cutter prisms, but while white, they give 4 at a time. So if I use it on a unique or whatever, it's 1%. But if I use it on a white quicksilver or a white sulfur flask, then I'll get 5% per quality. But what if you don't have whetstones? Then add them back on your filter. Add them back on your filter. Yeah, 5, 2, 1. Yeah, just in case. Like, I do know that every league, that there are some people that are like, oh, this is a really good map. This is a really good map, dude. This is worth investing in. Never, ever, for any circumstance, do that. I know that that does happen and it hurts me. But remember that you do get 5% quality when the map is white before crafting it. Like, you never ever chiseled like 20 chisels in one map. That's obscene. Yeah, this is the town that you get once you've killed Sirius. But yeah. Yeah, same thing with Catalyst. Use chisel at 19 is fine. I don't care about any of this currency anymore. Wicked word for CI. Yeah, sure, that's a good thing to talk about too. So when you're playing an energy shield build, this is pretty popular and used to be an occultist. Pretty popular for doing bosses. Sometimes you might feel like there's a lot of things attacking you and you might like struggle with like really like getting your recharge back on. Very popular on not so much Essence Drain builds because Essence Drain can get their energy shield back just by casting Essence Drain. But for example, Vortex builds, it's very popular for because you'll like drop a Vortex and then you'll just be like running around like, ha, I'm not being hit. And then the recharge starts, even if you get hit after the recharge starts. But I normally only do this for bosses. Pretty much only for bosses. And yeah, like there's quite a lot of things you can do to get avoid ailments as well. We have the if you are a character that's already close to here, you might be able to pick up both this one and this one on the skill tree, and then you might be able to anoint crystal skin, which is even better now. Obviously it is fairly expensive. It uses the silver oil, but it's 5 all rest plus 1 max all rest and 15% chance to avoid. So that is really, really nice. Is there another avoid over here? No, not really. Nothing important. Yeah, you can use the regret after the boss. How do you show the oils needed to anoint? Hold Alt down. What do the towers mean when you anoint on the rings? It's not really a defensive thing. But ring anoints is just, it'll empower the towers you craft. So for example, Azure and Clear Oil is the one I use the most. So whenever I build the temporal towers, they'll be 25% better. And then that's stacked. So you could have that twice. That's my favorite one. What other defense stuff do we need to talk about? I should try to eat before next session too. Let's see. Let me see if we have any food. There. Dodge, we've already talked about that. Thank you. Great suggestion. Soul Tether and Overleech. Okay, so there are a couple of forms of Overleech in the game. Let's see, where's Soul Tether? Couple of sources of Overleech in the game. And let's open up Path of Building too. So Slayer, a couple of gloves have it, and a few other things. But let's talk a little bit about Overleech. So where is it on Slayer right now? Here? No. Life leech effects are not removed at full life. So the way life leech currently works is that if you have, let's say you have 7,000 life, right? And you don't have brutal forever, and you are killing monsters, and you have 7,000 life max, you're at 5k, you like leech back up, and then all your life leech is gonna stop. Like while you're on full life, there's no life leech being built up. So if you take damage again, then you have to start leeching, and and then it'll like fill up, right? So that's how it like currently works. However, once you have Brutal Fervor, you are constantly having those leech stacks up, and the way that ends up working is you're on 7k life, you take damage, and your leech instantly is at full effect. Instantly at full effect. And yeah, Roman, I know, but I'm gonna take a quick food break soon. So that's why that's so strong, and makes Slayer very, very tanky. And then Soul Tether actually has a very, very similar effect. What's the Divine Flesh? Not Divine Flesh, but what's the red Timeless Jewel called that gives us the 20% extra? Because I want to talk about that. Can anyone link me one? I don't think I have. Oh, actually, maybe I do have one. Yeah, off Doriani. Wait, I'll go off D&D. Maybe someone can link me. Whoops. Someone can link me a Corrupted Soul. That'd be great. But yeah, Soul Tether, what it does is it gives you Immortal Ambition. And you gain 6% of max life as extra maximum energy shield. So what is Immortal Ambition? What it is it's basically Slayer Overleech. It means that your life leech. Thanks. Yeah, no, I don't need it. Yes. Sure, anything. So Immortal Ambition is that the life leech is applied to energy shield instead while on full life. So as soon as you hit full life, it'll just start filling up your energy shield, right? And that gives us the same effect that Slayer has with Slayer Overleech. Let's see, do I have a character I can show that on? I don't think so. I don't think so, but it is I do use it on a lot of characters, but they might be deleted. But yeah, it's insanely strong. And then you do get like the life as extra energy shield too, and normally these characters will be investing into a bit of a hybrid. Does it work for CI? Yes, but it also starts your energy shield at 1. So you would start maps with 1 energy shield. Oh, sorry, I didn't look at the whisper message. So you can get similar things there too, but you don't want to do that. Yeah, I'll be talking about Mom after this. But yeah, so you normally invest in those characters would have like 5 or 6k life, and then you'd be taking Molding, Written in Blood, and trying to get like a 1 or 2k ES buffer, and then it's like very, very strong. Very, very strong. And then let's see, can someone re-message me the Corrupted Soul, because that's something that's very, very commonly used. Especially on rangers that struggle a lot with survival, but also like assassins and like auto bombers. Like if you're ever like really struggling, you have like 4,000 or 5,000 life, and you're like, I really want some more defense, and maybe you can get a 1,000 energy shield buffer. Anyone have Corrupted Soul? I'm gonna just like Google it in the wiki. Corrupted Soul. Yeah, so Corrupted Soul is grants you 20% of your maximum life as extra energy shield, but 50% of the damage will bypass it. So it's like kind of like a really, really strong mind over matter type thing, and it just adds a bunch of like effective life, especially if you're leeching. Then like with the belt, you're gonna be leeching energy shield, and then when you take life damage, it will be like instantly leeching that back up. It does feel really great, and they are very tanky. It's actually really funny because the Glorious Vanity of Doriani has actually gotten a lot of people using a Headhunter killed. Because say you're playing with a Headhunter and Glorious Vanity, what ends up happening is that you'll be stealing a lot of mods, especially energy shield mods. And there was a very popular clip going around of somebody that had 300,000 energy shield, and lots of people started posting because he died in one detonate dead to a boss. Like a boss got detonated, and oh my god, everyone's like, this is such a shit game. Detonate Dead did 300,000 damage. Fix your game, GGG. When in reality, what happened was that guy only had like 7,000 or 8,000 life. And it was a boss being detonated, which we all know does a crazy amount of damage. And 50% of that, obviously, like actually, I think he only had 5k life. Yeah, it was a metamorph that got detonated. That was it. So obviously that probably does like 20 to 30k damage. It doesn't do 300,000, but half of the damage went through his energy shield and killed his life. It corpse exploded the corpse of the boss. Wow. And there's not much like that you can steal that adds life, but there's a lot that you can steal that adds energy shield. And this is a really, really good way of adding defense to characters that really struggle with it. So that's pretty nice. Other than that, and I did just mention Mind Over Matter as well, we do have Mind Over Matter here, which is 30% of your damage taken from mana before life. Very commonly used on characters that don't have to reserve all their auras on like Spellslinger or on auras. And very popular as an early choice of defense. And then we have Hierophant, who gets an even stronger Mind Over Matter. Let's see, where is it? It gets... where is it? Is it this one? Oh yeah, 10% of damage is taken from mana before life. So he gets a 40% Mind Over Matter. Very, very strong. You'll see a lot of characters going around with like 5k life and like 5 to 10k mana or whatever, depending on the character and if it's Archmage or not. Which is very, very strong. They're just really, really good characters. And then we also do have Agnostic, which I can talk about a little bit. I haven't ran a single Agnostic character, so it would be better to get somebody else to explain that actually. I just never got around to any of them. Do people use Mom and Agnostic at the same time? Yeah, Cloak of Defiance has Mom as well. And a stronger version of Mom. But yeah, Mom is very strong. It basically just gives you a really, really nice buffer. But yeah, while you're not on full life, sacrifice 20% of mana per second to recover that much life. And then generally people will get a decent amount of like mana recovery. You can combo it with Archmage as well. There's a lot of things you can do there when you have a shit ton of mana. Can you scale flat and mana regen? Yeah, and there's a lot on the tree as well that does give this. Like we have mana regen percentage and max. Let's see, what are the ones that give flat? This one gives flat. Flat really does add up here. Empress of Arcadia is tomorrow. Let's see. I'm on in 35 minutes. Yes, that is correct. The next episode is with Noogie in 35 minutes. Let's see. I actually need to eat before the next episode or I'm going to die. So I'm trying to think if there's anything else I really, really need to talk about before we end. Offense or defense? I mean, you always in the game need a healthy... Oh yeah, guard skills and cast damage taken. Corpse Clear? Yeah, okay, sure. We can talk about those things. So, Corpse Clear is part of the reason why a lot of people are a little bit unhappy about the current state of Explode Chest. This is probably going to balance itself out in Heist, because these were so easy, incredibly easy to get in Harvest. Because in Harvest, they were a guaranteed craft. It was like very, very low investment and easy to get. And the way this works is that it removes all corpses. So they can't be detonated. They can't like kill you after they're dead, right? Which is nice. And there are a couple other ways to do this. Some people will actually do cast and now take in Flesh Offering. Some people will play Shatter builds, so they'll do like crit and cold damage just to remove corpses. But that is very, very strong. That's mostly to avoid things like... Actually, we have a quick rip we can show here. Let's see, YouTube, Zizaran rips. This is fairly recent. Big oof, bye-bye ED. So, if I had, like, some way of removing corpses, it's a bit annoying on ED, because you can remove your Contagion. But I know Waggle played Contagion with an Exploity chest. This is actually a kind of unfortunate death, because I do have, like, something like 20 spell dodge and 75 spell block. So I have quite often like ran in these and not taken any damage. But that's the problem with dodge, is that sometimes you are unlucky. Don't think you can block or dodge DD. You can now. You didn't used to be able to. Same with volatiles. There is a fairly early death of me playing a max block character and I'm screaming because I was like, how did I not block that? But then in that part of the game, you couldn't block it at all. Yes, you can block or dodge DD now. Now you can. You couldn't before. That has changed. But yeah. Yes, we already talked about blind. Let's talk a little bit about guard skills. So one thing that is kind of underrated and actually very strong is all the guard skills are instant. So if you are currently playing like this, like I am doing right now, with nothing on your move only, what you can very, very easily do with that, like obviously as long as you have spare gem slots, you can put, for example, Steel Skin and have that on mouse button 1. Now periodically at no offset, well, I mean it uses 13 mana, but at like no other downside than that, you periodically get an extra shield. And then you have other guard shields too, like Steel Skin, Molten Shell, and the mana one as well that I always forget the name of. But it's important to realize that you can have things on mouse button 1, and like I showed with Enduring Cry earlier. So we do also have Molten Shell. Molten Shell itself is very, very strong, and so is Immortal Call on just one cast. Sadly, Val Molten Shell did get nerfed, but obviously the normal Molten Shell is very strong. So when do we use which one? So Steel Skin needs to be leveled up. If you're playing a character with like 50 to 80 strength, you're never going to use Steel Skin, but you could use a fairly low Molten Shell as long as you have a Granite Flasks or some decent amount of armor, and Molten Shell will be fine. Whereas Steel Skin is really, really good as long as you can level it to level 20 or level 21. And then Immortal Call as well is really, really good with no investment and just like slapping it on mouse button 1. Oh, yeah, and true. Necromancers do have the, and Scions do have this. Offering skills affect you, which makes like Bone Offering insanely strong as a defensive thing. It gives you a lot of block, and it gives you life when you block. Probably very likely to get nerfed, but insanely strong. And then even stronger with Glancing Blows. What other? And then Immortal Call is really nice while doing endurance charges too, but I feel like I more often use it without endurance charges because the endurance charges themselves are like such a big defense that I don't want to waste them by consuming them. Any good unique items for protection? Good chest, gloves, etc. That's so build dependent. What would be the cutoff? I would never use the Steel Skin unless I can level it to level 20. I would always be using it only when I can level it to max level. Anti-stun. There's loads of sources of stun immunities. Mostly, a lot of people going CI will be Trickster. Then you have like Presence or Eye of Chayula. Some people will use like, it's very old school. I don't feel like they're used anymore, but you have Kiara's Determination. You have, what the fuck is the ring called? Valerium? I think it's called Valerium. Sounds very Game of Thrones. Valerium. Yeah. Valerium is makes that your stun threshold is based on energy shield instead of life. And as a quick intro to how stun works, it is based on your life. However, how does this work when we're CI? Do I get stunned as if I have 1 life? No. You get stunned as if you're 1,462 life in this case. So the life you would have without CI being allocated. Oh yeah, you can't see it. So you would get stunned as if you had that amount. The best way to like use like Bone Offering and things like that would be to have a wand with trigger gems. We can show that here. To how to actually get the trigger gems. I talk about that at !trigger. It's like a very, very easy way to get it. But the usage of it, you can see here, like it'll just be like casting the other spell. So now I haven't cast Tempest Shield myself, but that is cast because I have Cold Snap, Tempest Shield, and Wave of Conviction in here. So you see there's the Wave of Conviction, there's the Cold Snap, and boom, there I recasted Tempest Shield. So it'll like cycle through these gems every time I do anything. As long as I'm using any skill. Flame Dash they'll cast, stuff like that, and then you can have Tempest Shield, you can have like anything useful in here. I think that is what we're gonna end the multi-layer defense. I think we covered the most important things I wanted to cover was like the first part with the multi-layer defense things. And now I'm gonna eat before the next episode, which is about crafting a build. Oh yeah, stun immunity on Flasks can be good too. You can get that on Cinder Swallow by unveiling. But yeah, works well with spell slingers. Works well with everything pretty much. But we are ending the defense class here. I hope you liked it. I hope you learned a few things. Obviously, we can't cover everything, but we'll be working on making each session better. Yeah, they will be on YouTube. So again, thanks for watching. Remember to subscribe and support and stuff, all that good stuff. And I hope you enjoyed it. Next episode is craft the build with Noogie in 29 minutes. I'm just going to eat before then. And then, yeah, thanks for watching. Try to die less than I do.